What's up everyone, Lance Hedrick here, and today we're going to look at how to dial in lightly roasted coffees. Now, before we get into that, we need to really understand what that means. What is a lightly roasted coffee? Because there are so many different roasters that refer to their coffees as light, medium, dark, and these terms can be quite vague and definitely subjective. So let's kind of understand where we're going with this. Now, when I refer to lightly roasted coffee, it's going to be a lighter brown color, all right, for the most part, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to break with your fingers. So if you can take your bean and snap it and it's brittle and it's easy to break apart, it's probably not that light. For the most part, more lightly roasted coffees in relation to darker roasted coffees are going to be less brittle, they're going to be more dense, and they're going to be more difficult to extract. All right, so when I'm saying lightly roasted coffee, please keep in mind that I'm talking about these coffees that are more insoluble. They're more difficult to kind of grind. They may be louder or take a little bit longer to grind up. So that's kind of what we're dealing with today. Talking about lightly roasted coffees, as I said, they're less soluble than their darker roasted counterparts. So what this means is we have to manipulate the variables of extraction to push extraction as much as possible. So essentially what you have is you have these lightly roasted coffee beans that don't want to give up their flavor. They're very stingy. You have darkly roasted coffee beans and they're like free for all. Here you go, take my solubles, all right? So we're gonna have to put up a fight with the lightly roasted coffees. Now the way we're gonna do that is by a few things. We're gonna grind a bit more finely than we would with a darker roasted coffee. We're gonna make sure that we're preheating the chamber a lot more intensely than we do with darker roasted coffees. And I recommend using only off the boil temperature water with lightly roasted coffees. Of course, it's gonna lose temperature throughout the brew chamber and throughout the extraction process itself, so we want to ensure we are maxing out our temperature in every way possible. So what I like to do to really ensure I'm heating that chamber up as hot as possible is I like to take the lid off my kettle and get something that fits on the top. This is the base of a glass Kalita. You can also use something like a Stag X, like the full Stag X will fit, but something that fits on top of your kettle, like so. And then I take the full brew chamber, and I actually do it with the portafilter included. You don't have to, but I like to do it with the portafilter included, and I'm just gonna plop it in like that. Okay, see how it's sitting just right there? It's not actually in the water, but it's right there, all right? And then I'm gonna bring it to boiling. Now this is gonna heat up with that steam and it's gonna get quite hot. So hot that you're gonna have to be quite careful when you take it off. I have a rag here to grab to pull out the portafilter and to wipe it out so it's not wet. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So this is what I like to do to preheat the chamber, make it as hot as possible. Let it sit here on steaming, boiling water for a few minutes. And then we're gonna preheat with some water, dump that water out, and then we're gonna go. All right? So the next thing we're going to do is I'm gonna go ahead, I actually like to put the lid on top as well, just to ensure none of the steam's being wasted. I want it all in there. I want it as hot as possible. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grind up my coffee, all right? So with the Flair PRO 2, I like to always start with 16 to 16.5 grams of coffee. And on the niche grinder, if you have one, I like to start on 24. All right, so that's where I find, let's see, where are we at? 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I like to start at 24. And so let's go ahead and grind this up. And then we're gonna talk about what it looks like on this first pull. Now the pulls that I typically enjoy doing, especially when taking into consideration that the puck resistance will be higher within Ethiopia, since Ethiopian coffees tend to produce more fines. With all that into consideration, I like to pull shots that have longer pre-infusions that spike at a certain, that spike at 8 or 9 bars and then slowly ramping back down for the duration of the shot. So just a classic lever style pull. All right, so I like to begin with those. And then with the bean, I like to let the bean kind of tell me its solubility, what it wants, how it wants to be pulled. And then I might change the way I'm brewing based off of that. But for today's video, to keep it more concise, we're gonna just dial in that standard lever style type of profile, which I'm gonna just do a long type of three bar pre-infusion for 10, 12 seconds. I'm gonna ramp it up to about 9 bars for a few seconds, and then as I see the flow rate increasing, I'm gonna steadily decline the pressure that I'm adding to the flare, all right? So, we are at 16 grams, boop, and boop. There we go. I'm on the 24 grind setting, which is coarser than the espresso range on here. So with these more narrow baskets, keep in mind that you're gonna go a little coarser than you will with a typical 58 millimeter basket, all right? So you're gonna go a little coarser. And the reason for that is because the bed depth is so deep that it's gonna be a lot harder for that water to get through all the way. It's extracting that top layer quite thoroughly, and it's gonna be extracting less and less as it goes, and the water is gonna be cooler and cooler as it goes, and cooler water is a slower extraction, all right? So, that was a whiff. There we go. All right, I got my coffee. I have this over here on the, it's at boiling, and so it's been sitting there and it's quite hot. I don't recommend touching it. I don't know why I am. I'm gonna take my towel and I'm gonna grab the chamber itself, all right? Now you can hold this by the rubber and just pull that portafilter part out. And then while I'm prepping my puck, I'm gonna let boiling water, I'm gonna put the rubber cap on and I'm gonna let some boiling water sit inside the brew chamber, or the water chamber, excuse me. And I'm just gonna let this heat up while I prep the bed. Alrighty, get this back to boiling, put that to the side. All right. So now, I've got my portafilter. I'm gonna wipe out any water droplets, because water droplets in the basket is gonna cause channeling. I'm gonna put in my collar, and I'm going to get my coffee grounds in. All right. Now I'm gonna take my WDT, and I'm going to give some swirls. I'm going in circles, in small circles, and one big revolution. So I'm doing what the Earth does. I'm rotating and a big revolution around the sun, which is the center of the puck. And I'm slowly lifting up as I do so until it's nice, flat, and even. Now, I'm simply going to take this and I'm gonna give it one nice, solid, firm tap to set everything. And there we are. All right, now I'm gonna take the tamper, place it in, make sure it's all nice and level, and then give it a nice level tamp all the way until the grounds stop moving. All right? So we have it tamped, we have it good to go. I like to clean off the grounds around, just to be nice. All right, then we're gonna place our screen on top, the dispersion screen. And there we go. All righty, now this is done. So I'm gonna go dump this water out in the sink real quick, and I'm gonna snap and I'll be right back. And I'm back with an empty one. All right, we're gonna place this on top. I'm gonna put this up here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my espresso cup underneath to receive the glory. Now, let's fill up the brew chamber. All right, got it full all the way to the top. Place my manometer on top, and here we go. So we're gonna switch to the side view so you can see this pressure gauge. And I'm gonna start my timer, and there we go. Bring it up to 3 bars. I'm gonna live here until I start seeing some water, the espresso droplets come out. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm gonna hold it here a little longer. This grind feels maybe a little tight. Once I get to 20 seconds, I'll go ahead and go to 8 bar. And here we go. So I'm going up to 8, 9 bar. I'm holding it here for a bit and allowing the flow to increase. Once I get a steady stream, I'm gonna slowly start pulling back. All right, here we go. Slowly start pulling back. I'm down to 7 bars, down to 6 bars, 5.5. I'm just trying to apply the same amount of pressure with my arms and letting it slowly come down. All right, let's stop at 30 grams. There we go. All right, so we did 30 grams. We did that in right at a minute. I'm gonna place this under here for any drips. We're gonna evaluate the taste. So we have our espresso here. I'm gonna take my spoon, give it a nice stir. All right, good little sip. So you may notice when dialing in a lighter roasted coffee that a shorter ratio as I just pulled might seem pretty sour. That, for me, was extraordinarily sour. So what I'm gonna do is coarsen the grind up and hopefully be able to have a higher flow earlier on in order to get more of the sweetness unlocked. This was quite sour. I need to extend that ratio. I just was at a minute, so I stopped the shot short, all right? Anyway, so I just did 16 grams in, I did 30 grams out in a minute, and it was very sour. So I'm gonna coarsen the grind even further. Now, something that needs to be addressed, if you don't already know, don't worry about time as much as you should worry about taste. Now, I know that seems elementary, but a lot of people still get caught up and want to pull 30-second shots. I just pulled a minute-long shot, and it was well under extracted, okay? Very, very, very under extracted. So I'm actually coarsening the grind so that I can have more yield come out in less time. I would prefer to focus on that ratio, having a higher ratio when I'm trying to increase extraction than rely on time. The issue is when you have that long of time, the likelihood is you have such a finely packed puck that it is causing a lot of channeling, and channeling can slow it down if the only output is through channels. All right, that's why that stream was pretty thin. I want to be able to control the flow rate a lot more than I was on that first shot. So I've coarsened the ground. I'm now at 28. I went up 4 clicks, which is a big jump. And we're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna do 16-gram dose again, and this time I'm planning on getting about 40 out. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna follow the same style of profile as I did the last time. Let's go ahead and get our cup underneath and our scale. There we go. And let's fill it with the boiling. All right. Place in the manometer, and let's do it. We'll bring it up to 3 bars, and I'll live here until we get a few nice drops. All right, so at 12 seconds, I'm gonna go up to 9. As the flow speeds up, I'm just slowly letting off to keep the as similar flow rate throughout the duration of the shot as possible. All right, we're about 22, down to about 4 bars, down to about 3 bars. We're at 40 grams in about 55 seconds. All right, so let's try this out. A lot better. Still kind of sharp. Still pretty acidic, which just means that we need to ensure that we're elongating the ratio even more. Or it means that we need more contact time, or hotter, but we can't really go hotter than we're doing right now. We're pretty much maximizing the efficiency of heating up that chamber. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm going to elongate the ratio. I'm gonna make it even longer. So right now I'm at 16 in, I just did 40 out. I'm gonna do 16 in and go up to 45 out, which is almost a 1-to-3 ratio. But fear not, this coffee has a lot to give. That's what's gonna happen with a lot of these lighter roasted coffees, and hopefully this is gonna be right on the money. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna go up to 16 grams in. We're gonna pull out 45 grams. Here we go. Filling up with boiling water. All right, it's full. Like that. Place that, and start the timer. I'm gonna pull that up to about 3 bars. We're gonna hold it right here, right at 3. Hold there till 12 seconds. Nice 12-second pre-infusion. All right, 12. I'm gonna shoot up to 9. Hold it there until I get a nice, constant, pretty decent flow, which takes about 10 or so seconds. I'm gonna just slowly ramp down. All right, so now I'm at 7 bars. 6 bars, 5 bars, 4 bars. Now we're just gonna chill at 3 until we hit our intended goal. Down to 2.5 actually. And I forgot we're going to 45. Uh-oh, let's go up to 45. And there we go. All right, hit 45, there we are. So I started de-escalating the pressure a little early. I forgot we were doing 45, but let's go ahead and give it a try. May need to pull one more. That's actually fantastic. Graham cracker, lots of mixed berries like blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Just a really, really nice coffee. Wow, it's very good. It was right at just shy of a minute long. We did a 12-second pre-infusion, ramped it up to 9 bars for 10 to 12 seconds, and then just slowly went down on the pressure to maintain flow. Now, for this video, because it would have been hard to show the screen, I was just doing it based off of feel, which you can absolutely do. But most everyone nowadays has a smartphone. And on your smartphone, there's this great app that is perfectly compatible with the Flair, with really Bluetooth scales. So if you have an Akai Lunar or some sort of Bluetooth scale, you can match up it with this app called the Smart Espresso Profiler app. Now this, you're able to track the flow. It tracks grams per second that are hitting the scale. And this is gonna really help you to profile. I like to build up to about 1.5 grams per second and then keep it there. The way you keep it there is by lessening the pressure, okay? Lessening the amount of force you're putting onto the lever, lessening the flow rate of the water going through the bed of coffee, okay? So I'm just gonna slow it up and allow that curve of pressure to go down and allow the flow to continue constant. And I found this gives me the sweetest, most consistent shots. But of course, that's not for everyone. Now the point of this video is less to teach you how to pull the shots I like to pull on the Flair 2, and more to show you which direction you should go when dialing in a light roast. Keep in mind, they're more stubborn, they're less soluble, so you might wanna grind a little finer than you typically do with your darker roasted coffees. You're gonna wanna go hotter. You're gonna wanna really ensure that you're preheating your chamber as hot as possible. Just be careful because it's gonna be hot even with that rubber, all right? And how to make the decisions when you're tasting your coffee, what to do. And keep in mind that espresso for the most part is extracting sour, sweet, and bitter. And the best way to really understand that lesson is to start your shot, have 3 cups to the side, pull the first bit into 1 cup, switch your cup, pull the second bit into another cup, switch your cup, pull your third bit into another cup, and taste all 3. And you'll taste that sour, sweet, bitter. And this is going to help you really start to dial in and learn how to understand these lighter roasted coffees that perhaps you've never had before. Just know that they're not sour by nature. If you taste a coffee, it's not the coffee that is sour. It's probably under extracted. If you taste salts or if you taste too much acidity, either push the extraction further, fine up the grind, and really ensure that you are allowing for that pressure to reach, to go higher than 4 or 5 bars, which is sometimes an issue. And really ensure you're pushing the extraction as far as you can get it. I like going bigger ratios. I like doing hotter water. Those are my 2 go-tos for the most part when I'm dealing with these lightly roasted coffees. You should be able to get a really sweet, syrupy mouthfeel, even with less body, okay? Please, if you have any questions, drop them below and the Flair team will be more than happy to help you out. I hope this was beneficial. It was a pleasure making some espresso with you today. I am stoked on this shot and I'm gonna keep sipping it. Yeah, hope you have a good day, and I hope that your light roasts taste ever so beautifully. Oh, fantastic. This is really good. I'm just gonna down it. Cheers. See ya.